In this video, we're going to learn about Context API in the simplest way possible. So there is no way you have to watch another video on it. Context API is a powerful React feature that allows to pass states between components all across the app. By the way, why I should use Context API for passing or managing states? Long before, React Dev used to pass states using prop dealing. It means suppose you want to pass states from component A to component C. In that case, you have to hold component B to component A. And you can set states from component A to B and B to C. So it's just complete mess. However, there is another way, that is Context API. Now, what Context API does, it has own kind of store where you can set your value. And now you can access the value from wherever you want. Yep, that's all about Context API. So basically we have to create the store, then you gotta set the value to the store and access it. Now let's go to VS Code and just look how easy this is. So here I want to pass a message from component A to component C. So we can say like const text set text equals to use state hello C. This is the default value. Let's just visualize it by wrapping in h4. So like this is the message we want to share. As I mentioned, we have to create a store first. So we will create a folder called context, and here we will create a file called app.context.jsx. Now here we want to import create context and use state. Now export const store context equals to create context. Here we just created a context. You can say like this is a store. Now we have to assign some values to the store, but first we have a boilerplate code. I will suggest to just practice it and you will use to it. So here we will say export const app provider. We wanna pass children object, and in the arrow function we will say const state set state equals to use state. This is the use state we're gonna use to set the value and access the value. Store context of provider, and here we say children. Also we have to set a value in as an object like state and set state. Now go to main.jsx. We're gonna import app provider function we created from app context and just wrap the app component into the app provider. Now this is the time to set value. So let's back to component A and import useContext. We will import useContext for accessing Context API. Now just import the store as import store context from app context. Let's assign the store context now. Like in this component we want to set the value, so we will call const set state equals to useContext store context. Now we will just call useEffect to store the value. Ignore the useEffect for now, and here we will just set the text in the set text function. Now this time to access the value, so go to the component C and where we will access it. So again we will import useContext to use the store and import store context from app context. Cause store has a value, so either we set or we have to get the values, we will use store context. However, let's assign the store context again. Here we want to get the value, so we will just say const and state object equals to useContext, and here we can say store context. Now just call the value and you can see here, so we just pass this text from component A to component C with Context API.